Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Some other quick reactions that I had as the bracket was unveiled on Saturday or on Sunday evening, okay? And I'll be transparent. I think my takeaways, they started with quite literally the first pod and the second team overall, okay? So first of all, Auburn, number 1 overall seed. Awesome. I think they should have been the number 1 overall seed. I thought if Duke got it, it would have been a little bit of revisionist history. They're playing well now. Auburn struggling. Auburn has 16 quad 1 wins. Nobody else is close. I believe they should have been the number 1 overall seed, even though they've lost 3 of 4. Then I saw who they could play in round 2. How about the fact that Auburn could be playing Louisville in Lexington in round 2, okay? And so I tweeted this out. I truly believe it. I stand by it. I think this is an all-time screw job by the committee. You look at Auburn. You look at the schedule that they put together this year. Guess what then happens from there? You then have to go to Lexington. By the way, you were just in Rupp Arena. Never forget, we know how that game ended in Kentucky a few weeks ago. You clinch an SEC regular season title, and you win in a place you haven't won since 1988. Then you know what happened? They did the BTA, the belt to ass celebration, and they've been struggling ever since. So one, that crowd is already going to be against them. But 2, to have to face a Louisville team potentially in round 2, I think that's an all-time screw job. By the way, you know how I know that it was actually a pretty big screw job? I tweeted it out. Dan Wolken from USA Today said, oh, Torres doesn't know what he's talking about. It's not a screw job. Yeah, it is. You would potentially be playing an 8 seed 45 minutes from their campus. I've driven from Louisville to Lexington. It's like, what, 40 Kentucky fans, Louisville fans, get in the chat. Tell me. I think it's, what is it, 45 or so minutes? So I think that's a tough draw for Auburn. We'll get into the South region in a minute. But that was my first overall reaction to the NCAA tournament selection, was like, how did Auburn end up having to face Louisville in round 2, potentially? Speaking of which, you know who I think was the second biggest loser in the bracket on Sunday? Louisville. Louisville is a team. Listen, I know the ACC is down, but let's go ahead and give Pat Kelsey a little bit of credit here, okay? Louisville started the season 6-5. A lot of injuries, this, that, the other thing. They lose, ironically, at Rupp Arena to fall to 6-5 in mid-December when they face Louisville. Well, or when they face Kentucky, okay? Well, I bring it up because after they lost to Kentucky, they proceeded to, are you ready for this? They proceeded to win 21 of their next 23 games. Louisville is 21-2 since the middle of February, since before Christmas. They were projected on every bracket as a 6 seed. I think some places even as high as a 5. So to get an 8 seed is highway robbery. Listen, I'm not going to spend too much time. We got so much bracket stuff to get to. But an 8 seed for Louisville, I think, is an all-time screw job for them, too. The good news is you are 45 minutes from campus. You got to take care of Creighton. We're going to get to that matchup here in a minute. But, man, oh, man, is that a tough draw. A couple other things that stand out. Listen, I won't be lying. I won't lie to you. Providence, it's the spot to be, okay? That's where DJ Pauly D first made his bones. Providence is on fire. It hasn't been this hot since DJ Pauly D was spitting in the clubs, okay? By the way, I know for half the audience, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Jersey Shore, learned a thing or two, okay? Providence, insane. First of all, I'll tell you this. You know, we talked about Arkansas all last week. Like, they're in. It's not a big deal. And then all of a sudden, the brackets start coming out. They're not in Milwaukee, which some projected. They're not in Denver. They're not here. They're not there. They're not in the 11 seeds. So it's like, where are they going to end up? They end up, how about this? As a 10 seed in Providence, they're going to face Kansas in the opening day of the NCAA tournament. I already saw tip times are out. Kansas and Arkansas. Bill Self versus John Calipari is the 7 o'clock Eastern time start time on CBS. So you know when Duke is playing on Friday and they chose somebody else in that 7 p.m. Eastern window, that means they're expecting a barn burner of a game. Now, this, of course, is a rematch, by the way, of the charity exhibition that Arkansas won at Bud Walton. Both teams are completely different. Arkansas has been up and down for sure. Kansas certainly has been up and down for sure, but that stood out. How about this, by the way? Winner gets Rick Pitino and St. John's. Listen, Rick Pitino, St. John's, it's been a dream season. But at the same time, how about Pitino in round 2 having to face another Hall of Famer? And I think, to be abundantly clear, I think that St. John's is a better team than Arkansas. I think they're a better team than Kansas. But Bill Self is a monster, whatever you think of him. They got a really talented roster that many people, including me, thought was a top 2 or 3 team in the country coming into the season. And so I just bring it up because you could face Bill Self or you could face John Calipari. I'm not positive on this. I think I saw that Calipari is 8-2 all time against Pitino as a college basketball coach, coached against each other a lot more in the NBA. But Calipari, I believe, is 8-2 against Pitino, beating him twice in the NCAA tournament, famously lost to Pitino in the 96 Final Four, but also beat him in, what was it, the 2012 Final Four, Kentucky and Louisville. And I think it was the 2014 Sweet 16. I could be mistaken on that. I'm not John Rothstein. I can't name all these off the top of my head. But I just bring it up because St. John's, that dream season, they will have a huge advantage in Providence. But that is a tough draw. We're going to break down all the brackets in a minute. Just a couple more teams that, to me, kind of got a little bit of a raw end of the deal. Should mention, by the way, for any Arkansas fan, for any St. John's fan, for any Kansas fan that is going to be in Providence, use our friend SeatGeek. Okay, so I just told you a minute ago, but a quick reminder, we're working with SeatGeek all March long. They got a special offer for listeners of the Aaron Torres pod. Find your tickets, purchase your tickets. Remember, green dot, that is a seat you want, but use promo code Torres at checkout. Your first purchase, you will get $20 off. So if those tickets are going for $100, you're getting them for $80. Tickets are going for $200, you're getting them for $180. Tickets going for $20, you get them for free. If they're going for $21, you get them for $1. Use promo code Torres at checkout for your tickets if you're going anywhere in March. Really quick, a couple other teams that I think got screwed by the committee. And we're going to break down the actual brackets in a minute. UCLA, you ready for a dust-up? Mick Cronin's going to freak out. So Mick Cronin's been complaining all year about the travel for UCLA in the Big Ten. I think the quote was, we've seen the Statue of Liberty more than we've seen our own campus. They had like 2 or 3 straight East Coast road trips. Granted, one of them was out of conference, but another story for another day. If you remember, before the Big Ten tournament, Mick Cronin basically said, I was torn on if I should pack for 2 straight weeks. And his argument was, if we win the Big Ten tournament, we're playing on Sunday, it might not make sense for us to fly back to LA. So I bring it up because why is that? It is because UCLA will open on Thursday. They will open on Thursday in Lexington, Kentucky. I believe it's the Lexington Regional. It's the East Coast, wherever it is. They will play Utah State. So this is a team that had 1 million cross-country trips. They go to Indianapolis, lose in the opener, fly back to LA. Now they have to fly back, play Thursday. For people who don't know the travel, that means they're leaving on Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, Wednesday media availability. Mick Cronin cannot be happy with that travel schedule. And then just a couple other teams that kind of stand out. You know, I thought Michigan got a little bit screwed because, one, they got a 5 seed. I think a lot of people thought they'd be a little bit higher than a 5 seed. They are playing on Thursday, just like UCLA is. They're playing in Denver. So remember, they were in Indianapolis. They probably are in air right now. They will land and then have to fly back out on Tuesday. They will face UC San Diego, 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursday night. Remember, that's also at altitude. The other one that stands out, VCU, who is playing BYU in round 1, they will also be in Denver. They have about a 4:15 Eastern tip-off in that game. I just bring it up because VCU wins on Saturday. They now have to, or Sunday, excuse me. They have to fly out to Denver. That will be a quick turnaround.